Welcome back, everyone, once again to a new installment of Screenplay Rewind. I'm Jeff,
I'm Ron.
and we actually have an email to talk about this week. I feel like the last couple of episodes we didn't have one, and I was sad, but guess who's back, baby? That's literally Bobby's fucking subject line right there. Yeah, I'm back, baby. Respect.
I agree with him.
Bobby says, after my 2-month break and the outcrying of support, I'm back with the hard-hitting question we all want answers to. Okay, with the world getting back somewhat to normal, do you see film releases going back to normal, as in just back to theater, or will they stick to the multi-platform release we have seen over the last 2 years? He continues, as someone who doesn't stream content, I feel like I'm missing out on good films and will be willing to even pay for a hard copy of series or films that I might never get to see otherwise. As a PS, he says, okay, second, if you are on a spaceship with some of your friends and you believe one of them might be the thing, okay, no question, just quit voting me out.
No.
Bobby is, of course, yeah. Bobby is, of course, referring to some recent Among Us games that we did. And yeah, basically, we just agreed to kill Bobby immediately every single time. And most of the time, we were, on point with that. So,
and some of us kept changing our name to match other people.
You fucking trolls. Such a clusterfuck. That in combination with the ability to, like, the shapeshift thing is just a fucking nightmare. That's why we just, when in doubt, just throw Bobby out the airlock,
For the record, I kept shape-shifting into Soapy.
Did you really?
I did. I just always picked Soapy, and I just always tried to avoid him.
Oh, God. That's good. Yeah.
That was my strategy. Always be Soapy.
Yeah. And then I did like was this one of the actual Gmail auto responses?
Yes.
Or did you actually? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That has become a meme. That has become a meme that we have continued the auto responses on Gmail. The
good.
horribly bland could be an answer to literally any fucking question.
So awkward.
Yeah, it's the worst and also the best.
Stop throwing me out of an airlock. I agree with you.
But yeah, before we talk about Deadpool this week, why don't you give me your opinion on his initial question about the kind of way you see films releasing going forward? It's a very good question, and
it is
one I don't think Hollywood has quite figured out yet.
I don't think they have figured it out yet, but at the same time, usually you don't go backwards. Usually when something new is introduced, whether it's used often or to good effect or not, it usually is kind of here to stay. So there's a contingent of people that never go to the movie theater. They hate going to the movie theater, and this allows them to get them in first run releases. So,
and by the way, as much as I view the movie theater basically as my church, they're not entirely wrong, because
all their complaints are legitimate.
More often than not, people, especially if you go, opening day and it's just packed, you're just playing roulette, dude. Are you going to have a baby crying? Are you going to have people talking the whole time? Is someone in front of you going to be on their cell phone the whole time?
When I went with my dad to see Endgame, the people 2 seats over from us, the dude was constantly explaining the MCU to his girlfriend.
Oh my God. See, stuff like that's the worst. But then on the other hand, if you get a good crowd, like the crowd that I saw Endgame with was perfect and was just fucking there for it.
Oh, when me and Christina went to see Endgame, it was incredible.
Yeah, because it's sad that it's such a roll the dice.
Well, like when you and me went to go see Don't Breathe, and there was that lady 3 rows in front of us.
And that's we remember that reaction more than any scene in the movie itself.
I don't know. There's one scene in particular I remember pretty damn good.
Oh God, I know what you mean. We need to cover those. We need an excuse.
Hashtag turkey baster.
Oh God, that's a Screenplay Rewind first T-shirt, I think.
No, I think it's here to stay. People have proven that they will give their dollar to get access to it now from home, and this gives studios a way to circumvent movie theaters, keep more of the profits, and to finally reach those people that wait 6 months for it to come out.
Yeah, it's interesting, and coincidentally, I don't know if you saw all of the commercials during the Super Bowl, but Netflix actually had one that was specifically about their movie releases.
Yeah,
where they're having a release structure of one, not like MCU level blockbuster movie, but a pretty high tier, level movie every week. And with some, pretty high profile. I think like there was a Ryan Reynolds film in there.
Ryan Reynolds has been in like 3 things recently for Netflix.
Yeah. So I think I think you're going to see. I think it kind of depends because someone like Disney or Netflix has the kind of infrastructure to make it work. Whereas, with them actually acquiring Fox and therefore acquiring Hulu, kind of adds Hulu into that situation as well. But and fucking have you heard how much fucking money like Amazon is dumping into the Lord of the Rings TV show? Like they're
And not only that, did you see the Lord of the Rings is up for sale?
Oh really? I hadn't heard about
that. The theory is Jeff Bezos is going to buy it, and he's going to own anything and everything of Lord of the Rings.
Pretty much, because he's pretty much given them carte blanche to use whatever dollar amount they want for the show because he's just a nerd for Lord of the Rings and has all the money in the world and more. So they can pretty much do whatever they want. So no one's gonna be able to outbid that man, So
pretty much,
he's gonna get it. But
I don't think, while it's obviously not the best thing that can happen to movie theaters, at the same time, I think movie theaters will be fine because they weren't getting money from most of the people that are going to use that feature anyway.
True. Yeah.
And then there's people like you and me that if we really love something, I mean, shit, man. I saw Endgame 5 or 6 times in the theater. I think I did the same thing with Pirates of the Caribbean and several other movies.
Yeah, it's just not the same, because now wasn't there an MCU movie or two that you actually paid the what is it, the Disney Premium? Is that what they call when you get the early access through the streaming service for the brand new thing? Then you watch Black Widow or something over it?
Yeah, I watched Black Widow.
What are your thoughts on their charging format? Because wasn't it like $30 to get early access? Which I mean is not a terrible proposition if you take into account you would have been able to watch that with several people in your home if you wanted to, so you can have friends over and kind of split the bill if you will.
For you and me and where we live, $30 is pretty steep. Every podcaster I listen to lives in California, and that was dirt cheap for them.
Yeah.
That was a no-brainer. $30 with a family of like 3 to 4. I think one guy I listened to has like 5 people in his household. $30. They're like, are you kidding me? Like, it's free. It's basically free for them.
Yeah, it basically becomes the theater day that you and I go the most often is when Cinemark has their $5 Tuesday discount.
Yeah.
So it essentially becomes that price, especially if you're taking into account if you have if you're wanting to rent a movie for your family, like an MCU or a Pixar movie, and you're taking into account what you would have paid for tickets for your entire family. It makes sense. But did you guys have did you kind of wince when you dropped $30 for the Black Widow access?
I think I winced harder when the movie was over at what I had just done.
I liked it, but it's not the best value proposition that bunch.
No, it was not great. I want to say Trolls World Tour was the first one we did that with.
Gotcha.
Because it had just come out when all this started, I want to say. I think it was like one of the first. I think it was one of them that did it so early that there was like lawyers involved because movie theaters and the MPAA were angry. Which it was a better value proposition than Black Widow was.
Yeah. Although, like I was talking about the specific instances of some of the companies have more footing when it comes to this, I don't think HBO will continue their format. I think HBO will go back to you go to the theater to see it.
Yeah, they basically had the contract for Warner Brothers. So that's essentially Warner Brothers doing that. They have a partnership with HBO.
Yeah, I don't see you being able to in a couple of years from now being able to watch a Matrix sequel.
No, they lost out on that.
Yeah, it's just not feasible for them because HBO wasn't doing the Disney version of you paying for it. HBO is it's there,
right?
So they're just taking a huge loss, and I still am shocked that they even went through with that proposition and didn't charge even $10 to $15 would have recouped a lot of that.
But I don't know what their pay structure was. I don't know what like HBO was paying them per household or something, but
True.
HBO got a ton of new subscriptions when that happened. So it might have been more profitable than we realize. As there was a lot of people that previously didn't have HBO that were like, well, sign me the fuck up then. Oh, wait, all of these movies sucked. I'm sorry, I did this. And then left. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that did. I also don't know what that did for the turnover. Because, streaming services, the great thing about them, you turn them on and off as you need them. But Warner Brothers was putting out brand new first run movies, Avengers level budget movies for no extra cost, like monthly on HBO. So
sometimes even weekly.
So why would you get rid of it? So I don't know what that did for the people that turn it on and off all the time either. Because if you're turning it on and off every month, it's the same thing as just leaving it on.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
it's interesting.
There's a proposition there where it was probably more profitable for them than we realize it was. It just doesn't seem like it from the outside.
The thing is, though, maybe it was just coincidentally because of what types of movies they got during this period of time. When you take into account some of those HBO Max multi-releases that happened being stuff like some of the more high-profile ones being stuff like The Matrix and Mortal Kombat, I feel like a big portions of those audiences would have already had HBO Max.
Yeah.
Kind of the movie nerd crowd. I feel like you or me would have already had it. So I feel like maybe there's some sections there of the public where they were able to get more of like a stronger foothold, but I just don't know, because they usually are pretty close to the vest with their projections and everything.
Yeah, I imagine that there is a bunch of movies that they probably made equal to or more than they would have, because they wouldn't have been as big a release in theaters. But stuff like Wonder Woman 84 and The Matrix, like you mentioned, they definitely lost money on those, probably.
Yeah.
But they probably made some of that up through other movies that came out that probably would not have done as well at theaters.
True. Yeah.
So
It'll be interesting to see what happens.
It's interesting. Also, for things going somewhat back to normal, can we just mention real quick the numbers that Spider-Man has done? It passed Avatar, and it's like the third or fourth highest grossing movie of all time, and this is during the pandemic still. This is when theaters are still suffering, and without China. It still hasn't released in China at this moment.
Really? That's fascinating.
So could you imagine if COVID wasn't a thing? This would have been the highest grossing movie of all time.
Yeah.
Like, it was the movie that got people out of their homes and into the theaters, regardless of the germs.
Yeah. Okay, coincidentally, Aurora and I just went and saw it this last weekend.
Oh my God, did you? I'm so jelly.
Yeah. You have to see it. It's great. But
oh my God. Well, it's already been spoiled to Kingdom Come for me, but yeah.
Yeah, you got to see it. It's fantastic. But yeah. You want to talk about some Deadpool, Ron?
Oh, do I, Jeff?
All right, this was your pick, so you got to intro it, man.
Oh my God. The best rom-com of all time. Hands down. My favorite. Yeah.
Oh, just real quickly, if you would like to have your emails read on the show, we answered Bobby's, be sure to email us, screenplayrewind@gmail.com, or you can also hit us up on Twitter, through the DMs, or just add us at SPR Filmcast. Just want to throw that out there.
Also, spoilers starting right from the beginning. We will be spoiling this entire movie. Beginning.
We do that here?
We do that here. So please watch this movie if you care about that thing. That kind of thing.
I feel like we usually only talk, about 20 minutes, kind of skim the surface level, and definitely don't
Dark
spend
Souls.
3 hours. Yeah, it's like, hey, you want to talk about Dark Souls or Lovecraft or South Park or Family Guy for like 30 minutes?
I was this close when you were talking about Netflix's release structure. Thank you for calling Netflix. You're greenlit.
And there it is.
Yeah. I was this close. That you might have even heard me like trying not to laugh into the microphone during one part of it. Yeah. Deadpool. Much more important movie than it seems. We'll probably get into some of that later. But this movie has a fucking story to it of trying to get made and not get made, and then it got made, and no one wanted to make it.
Made a fucking $1 billion.
Yeah, the studio tried to shut it down at every turn, and then it made them $1 billion. And then they're like, okay, so here's your check for Deadpool 2. You're green lit. Here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ryan Reynolds reprising his role, shall we say?
Ryan Reynolds rejuvenating his entire career based off of this, because it was looking pretty dicey there for Mr. Reynolds for a few years, It was like, and they make fun of it directly, but, like the whole Green Lantern debacle.
Which I still am on the record of I don't get, because I like that movie. So
it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's definitely not.
The crowd reaction was it insulted their heritage. Was the audience reaction?
Now the CGI suit did insult my heritage. Just throwing that out there.
I don't know. I'm sure it looks bad terrible now, but at the time it didn't bother me.
It looked terrible back then too, dude. It was so bad.
I don't know, it didn't bother me at the time.
It was so bad. I hated it. I couldn't even pay attention to the movie because it was just so. Just like, why? Some poor fucking team had to like just sleep under their desks for 6 months to have this constant CGI effect that looked like crap when they could have just had a fucking suit. I'm just like, why? But this is not a review of Green Lantern. This is a review of Deadpool.
Yes. And this movie came out right around Valentine's Day 2016. In fact, the tagline on the poster is "Feel the Love, Valentine's Day."
Yeah, it was a big part of their marketing push.
Yes, they had billboards everywhere, trailers, everything. They even call it in the movie a romance story.
Yeah.
It's fucking great. Directed by Tim Miller, and I had his filmography up, and now I don't.
Did the Terminator movie
Dark Fate?
Dark Fate.
Love,
that you and I liked.
Two different.
That everyone else seemed to hate, but you and I really enjoyed. I remember.
Oh my god, that movie was good. He's apparently producing Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
I think he's also one of the main creators of, what is it? Is it Love, Death, and Robots? Is that the Netflix?
I know he's produced a ton of the episodes. He directed 2 of them, one in 2021, one in 2019. I don't recognize the names of either episode.
Yeah, he typically did their live action ones. Like I think he did. You remember the one with Topher Grace and
yes.
Is that
Ice Age?
Let's see.
It says here, Love, Death, and Robots, Ice Age 2019.
I think that was the Tim Miller one. Yeah, Tim Miller.
And then the Drowned Giant 2021.
Yeah. So for whatever reason, they always have him on for the live action ones. Yes, I think that was. I know the Topher Grace one was, but I digress.
But directed by him, written by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick. Anyone who listens to the Hollywood Babylon podcast knows that Rhett Reese is actively in the audience often and gets pulled up on stage a few times because they both were writers in the Joe Schmo Show, which Ralph Garman was the host of. So,
I knew they were buddies with him, but I forgot what their connection was.
Yeah, Joe Schmo Show.
And they also wrote one of my other favorite comedies of the last
G.I. Joe Retaliation.
Zombieland. I love Zombieland.
Oh, that's where you were going. No, did you know that there's a new Clue movie coming and they're the ones writing it?
See, I would have been hesitant about them rebooting Clue, but with them, they'd be perfect for that.
I went from the fuck to just mixed emotions because I was like, why are we doing Clue, but also Deadpool? So, yeah, I don't know.
I'd watch it.
They did Double Tap also, by the way.
I still haven't seen Double Tap. It's actually pretty sad because I was really excited for it, but it just slipped under the radar for me. And maybe we'll have to pick that one for one of our Halloween movies this year just to give us an excuse to finally watch it. Because I really wanted to see it when it came out, and it just never got around to it.
For what it's worth, they wrote Deadpool 2 as well.
Which I really like. I don't think it's as much of a...
It's not nearly as good. It doesn't feel like nearly the passion project that Deadpool was. It felt more like, okay, we got the check from the studio and the deadline. We have to crank out a movie. But overall, I still liked it. Anything involving Domino stole the movie.
Yeah, anything with Domino is really good. I liked some of the when they literally call fucking what's his fuck Thanos. They had a lot of good comedy going for it. There's a lot, it's like it's a lot of great scenes. It's just like the sum of the parts isn't as good as Deadpool is.
Right. Yeah. It's got a lot of great one-liners. It's got a lot of really great moments and action sequences, but the overall movie itself is not as strong. And one reason why I love the story in this movie so much is at the time, especially, every comic book movie's plot was getting heavier and heavier and thicker and thicker. And this one just kind of reset everything back to the dude's girl was kidnapped. And that's it. That's the stakes. He's now ugly and his girlfriend gets kidnapped. That is the stakes in the movie. And it was a nice reset from everything Marvel was doing, everything DC was attempting to do, to just kind of calm down.
Yeah, it felt like a movie instead of them trying to make it into an epic.
Yes.
Which is
what made it epic, ironically.
Yeah.
We have a few unfortunate castings in here, but we'll get there. It stars Ryan Reynolds. I never know how to say her name, but Marina Baccarin.
Marina Baccarin.
Baccarin? I was close. Mm-hmm. Known for Firefly, of course. Ryan Reynolds needed no introduction. A few shows I did not know she was in. I'm interested in V. I've never actually heard of it, but it sounded interesting.
My parents were really into the original show.
Really?
But I don't remember if they saw and or liked the reboot of it. But I think it was pretty popular for a minute, the reboot.
TJ Miller, sadly.
Yeah, dude, TJ Miller's story is fascinating, by the way. Like, have you heard the brain surgery?
No.
Development. So he ended up being actually like released from some of his charges because TJ Miller several years ago apparently had brain surgery that they were able to scientifically prove altered his way of thinking to the point to where he did some of his crazy shenanigans. So yeah, that's the thing that happened. Yeah,
Jesus.
he had a giant portion of his like frontal lobe removed a few years ago.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's really sad too because before he became just a fucking nut job, like I actually really liked him. You know, he's hilarious in this. He's hilarious in Silicon Valley, and it's just a shame that his, you know, he ended up calling in a fucking bomb threat on a lady and ended up in fucking jail. You know, like who the hell knows, dude? It just sucks. It sucks when you like when you have actors that you really like, and then looking back on it almost like taints the earlier works of theirs that you liked. You know, it sucks.
And you know me, I have a hard time separating the actors from their career. So yeah, it kind of taints anything he was in before. And
he's good in this too. He has really good line delivery of this, and it makes me sad because it's like I'm laughing with the scenes, but it's like, oh man, you know, it sucks.
Yeah. Ed Skrein is Ajax in this. He got his name from the dish soap.
I don't know if it's Skrein. It may be Ed Skrein, but that dude, has he ever not been a bad guy?
I don't know.
He's so good at playing that just like sadistic asshole.
How do you interpret the Transporter character?
I don't think I actually saw his Transporter sequel.
I've never seen it, but I wanted to. I was told it was
like an
good.
Anti-hero. He's like an anti-hero, right?
He's pretty much an anti-hero in that. I never saw Maleficent. Alita, he was really good in.
He was kind of. I just realized I never saw Alita. I always meant to watch that one.
Oh, it's so good.
He's kind of a bad guy in the second Maleficent movie, but not really. But yeah, he's always, when he goes for it like he does in this, he's always a good bad guy.
I always forget that he's Dario. He's Dario Naharis.
Oh, in the first season before they recast it as this?
I always forget that. Game of Thrones we're talking about, by the way. I never saw Midway.
Yeah, me neither.
But I like him in everything that I see.
I like him too.
Yeah, and then one of my favorite performances in this is Stefan Kapsik. How do you say his name? Colossus?
Kapicic? I'm not sure.
Colossus was already just always one of the coolest X-Men.
Yeah, Colossus is pretty.
But he was one of my favorite characters out of the X-Men period because of this movie. And then Brianna Hildebrand, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, fucking awesome name.
Can we
Yeah.
change? Can we change names?
Can we change names? What the shit? That's a cool name. Yeah, I don't get. I mean, I don't think it's a thing now, but I remember when this movie first came out, people just talking on Twitter about how much they could not stand Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and
Really? That was the thing? I
yes,
thought everyone liked
that was a
Negasonic Teenage
thing
Warhead.
because she was too much of an angsty teen, which is
That was the whole fucking point of her
That's
character.
the whole point.
It's literally built into all the jokes
scene.
about her character. No, there's multiple scenes about it. That's insane.
Well,
I'm
there's
glad I
a
hadn't
whole
heard
scene
about
where he
that.
calls it out directly, though, on the highway. When
Yeah,
Ajax is stapled to the highway.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I also like the fact that they've gotten to the point with the X-Men movies, and they make fun of it several times in here. But back with Colossus, how they just completely retcon the fact that Colossus was in the X-Men movies and definitely was not Russian.
Yeah.
And they just like, nope, we'll do whatever the fuck we want because we realize the audience no longer cares. And that was the correct move, I think.
Dude, one of my all-time favorite lines from this movie is like, okay, Deadpool, come on, let's go talk to Charles. Patrick Stewart or James McAvoy? Your timelines are getting confusing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. That line cracks me up, even though I'm expecting it every time. It still cracks me up. It's just such a good fucking joke.
It's so good. Anyways, yeah, that's all the cast that stands out to me.
No, there's another unfortunate bit of casting.
Oh,
Miss
yeah.
Miss Carano as Angel does.
I don't actually see her in the top stuff. I need to go to the all cast to see her. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like the henchman. Yeah, she's the henchman of Mr. Ajax, and man, talk about how to fucking up it. She was probably going to get her own fucking Star Wars show, and within days...
no, she was on her way to her own Star Wars show. And she was one of my favorite characters in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, she was a cool character.
Dude, that whole episode where they introduced her, that fight in the back alley, come on.
And then when you nuke your fucking career from orbit because it's the only way to be sure.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't even see her here. You got to go to the all cast and crew to see her.
Yeah, it's very, very unfortunate. And don't forget Stan Lee as a strip club DJ.
Dude, that is, I forgot about he was the strip club DJ. That is one of my favorite cameos. Dude,
I like
can
how
we talk about the opening credits?
Maybe just real quickly. I also like while we're talking about the cast, how they have Rob Liefeld as he created Deadpool back in the early 90s, and they have him in the scumbag fucking bar that they always hang out at, and Ryan Reynolds just walks by and calls him Liefeld, so he's literally just Rob Liefeld in the movie.
Nice,
pretty cool. But yeah, maybe my favorite opening credits ever for a movie, the way that they're like
just talking. Hats.
Yeah, the way that they when they get to the written by the real heroes here.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Holy shit, Isaac Singleton Jr. has about 1 million things upcoming, dude. Oh, before we get too far away from it, Ryan Reynolds, did you see on IMDb that he is in the Dragon's Lair movie they're making?
I feel like I heard about that, but I'd forgotten that was actually... Is it still happening?
It's still happening. I forgot that it was still happening. It's been so long, but...
That's crazy.
Yeah, apparently Ryan Reynolds is in the Dragon's Lair. For those that don't know, Dragon's Lair was Laserdisc, right? It was in an arcade cabinet on Laserdisc. And it was hand animated, like cartoon style, but there are specific points where it's basically the thing that created QuickTime events. You have to pick the thing that you want to do in a snap judgment, and it loads the next sequence, the next animated sequence, and you go through Telltale style that way through Dragon's Lair. It's Dragon's Lair, and then the flip side was there's a space one that was exactly the same way. I can't think of the name of it. But yeah, it was Laserdisc because, like a DVD, Laserdisc could have chapters. And it's a choose-your-own-adventure cartoon that you're trying to get to the end of this thing. And, they could just say, if you pick to go left, that to load chapter 5 instead of chapter 3. And, yeah, it was an interesting thing. They re-released them a couple of years back. You can get them on PlayStation for some reason.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing too. Is like I actually like that Ryan Reynolds, despite having a close call with him, eventually just kind of being blacklisted from Hollywood because he had that string of bad luck, like we talked about for that period of time, where it wasn't he definitely would have probably continued to get roles just because of who he is, but he would no longer have been the guy leading your movie like he kind of resurfaced as after Deadpool. But I like the fact that he's still willing to do weird projects like Dragon's Lair.
Well, he doesn't need the money. He's got Mint Mobile. He's got the Aviator Gin, or he did. Yeah. He sold that and made a huge payday. But money is no consequence. And he's married to Blake Lively, so it's good to be Ryan Reynolds. Is what I guess I'm saying. Yep. But man, that opening sequence on the highway.
It's so good. Especially, it would have been funny enough if all they had was the way that they made fun of all the cast and crew and everything with the little blurbs. But the way that they're just kind of going slow-mo around the action sequence you're about to see is really cool.
It sets up a really good anticipation because where we started, but then we go back kind of to the beginning a couple of times. But I just love when we're watching it happen in real time and you're just like, shit. Did I leave the stove on?
And the music. What is this song that's playing in the opening too? The song is perfect.
Yeah, Angel of the Morning.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, that's one of my all-time favorite songs.
Coincidentally, one of my other all-time favorite openings was another.
I've never said this, but don't swallow.
Coincidentally, and maybe they were, part of the reason it happened there too. But one of my other all-time favorite intros to a movie is Zombieland from Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick. Also set to a perfect song, also in slow motion. So they clearly have a theme within their intros.
Oh my God, Jeff.
Let's talk about it like just real quick. My first thing that comes to mind: how good is like the editing in this movie as far as when they jump around it's like really cool because
it feels really organic.
It feels really organic while also being intelligently put together to keep it from being boring, because they jump around to keep it from being this is a superhero origin story. The first act is the origin, blah, 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 blah. They keep it from being cookie cutter and bland by jumping around the way they do, but it doesn't get confusing.
Jeff, I will remind you, Deadpool says several times throughout the movie that he is not a superhero.
True.
God, we just watched the movie. Yeah, no, it's done really well. It's the writing for that is really well, and it seems really natural. And I think one thing that helps that is the fourth wall breaks, because it's not weird or unusual for him to be talking to you the entire time, or for him to cut away to something the entire time. So, that's one thing that really helps that style of storytelling. This movie proved the concept of the rated R superhero movie, Jeff, which probably has hurt DC in the long run, but helped projects like Logan and Deadpool 2. And Disney has said that when Deadpool 3 comes out, they're going to keep things the way they are. People were worried they were going to lighten it up, and they're like, no, we like what's going on here, and it fits the character.
Yeah, why would you change it?
Yeah.
They have a track record of the first movie. The second movie did really well, but the first movie especially just did fucking like gangbusters, dude.
It had an immediate cult following while it was in theaters.
Yeah.
But just I don't know, some of the MCU movies that we've gotten even recently that kind of dial it back, like Ant-Man tends to lower the temperature of the room by being about, let's chase down this suitcase, or dude is making a weapon, we got to go stop him. It's not universe ending. It's not the Thanos snap. It's not anything like that. I feel like a lot of people feel like it's okay to not ramp up. It's okay to dial back. Comes from this $1 billion indie film, more or less, because the studios wanted nothing to do with it.
In the grand scheme of things, like the budget of this compared to something like one of the Avengers movies, it's nothing.
It was a license to print money because it cost them nothing to make. It's funny how it's a big old house, but I only ever see the two of you. It's like the studio couldn't afford more X-Men or something.
Is there any movie that understands what it is more than Deadpool? I don't think so, because they just like fucking get it, dude. And the combination of the writing and the editing and just Ryan Reynolds just crushing it on every single line.
Well, the fact that Ryan Reynolds has license to just be Ryan Reynolds, like to the nth degree, it's incredible. He was born to be Deadpool, basically. But
what's also interesting is it's actually like a slightly different version of Deadpool, because this is, you know, kind of 50% Ryan Reynolds, 50% Deadpool. But the Deadpool in the comics, while it's like in that same kind of flavor, it's a little bit different because he's more actively engaging with his like split personalities. But instead of going that route, they just had, you know, they just say, fuck it, just go be Ryan Reynolds and say, like, how many of the fucking scenes do you think were improv? Probably a good chunk of them because it's Ryan Reynolds and he can do that shit and it's good.
I imagine that there's a lot of the one-liners that we all know and love are probably just improv.
A lot of the ones specifically where it's self-depreciating humor, you know, about like the Green Lantern cost, like, you know, don't make it green or animated. I could see that not being in the script and then him just fucking saying that as he's being rolled across the scene, you know?
Oh my God. This movie, man. I don't think I stopped laughing. I think from the moment I started laughing, I think I just kept laughing 6 years later, all the way to the end.
Just real quick, I've just been scrolling through the IMDb photos like I often do to kind of spur talking points, but one of the posters is him in the full costume. And it says badass, smartass, great ass Deadpool.
Whatever they did to me made me totally indestructible and completely unfuckable.
We talked about it a little bit, but this movie had one of the best marketing campaigns ever too.
Yes, it did.
The way that they're like a lot of their posters and a lot of their trailers just presented it as if it literally was a romantic comedy.
Yes.
You know, in that, you know, like it was a fucking Nicholas Sparks movie. It was genius. And it like made it like a cult following like you talked about, but also it's just huge for, like, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say, yeah, I didn't really care for that Deadpool movie. They at least, you know, kind of acknowledged that it had some, you know, merit to it. It wasn't a colossal, like, I don't remember hearing, even in the age of Twitter, I don't remember hearing anyone talking shit about Deadpool to like an extreme degree, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, this movie, I don't even know really, it's one of those, I don't even really know how to talk about it. Like, it's so insane and like bouncing off the wall all the time, but like in all the best ways. And at the end of the day, it really is just about the fact that he's in love with this girl and now he looks like an avocado. So he's ashamed to see her, and then she gets kidnapped and he is forced to reveal himself.
You look like Freddy Krueger face fucked a topographical map of Utah.
Dude, one of my favorite ones was, now I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s. Oh my God.
I love all those. No, one character we didn't talk about much. I fucking love his blind roommate.
Yes.
All the stuff with him and her is just fucking gold. And now I'm going to need you to leave the room because I bet it feels huge with this hand.
Her putting together the IKEA. Why is she the one putting together the IKEA?
Oh my God.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where it's like, it's hard to talk about because just every fucking scene is so quickly paced. They don't, like, also, can we just take a moment to appreciate the fact that we had a comic book film made in the 20 teens that was under 2 hours long? Because that never fucking happens anymore.
No, it does not.
It just doesn't happen. You know, like you have shit like the fucking Eternals. It's like 2 hours and 5 years long. I'm just like, please stop. Like, but you know, Deadpool is just confident enough to keep it quickly paced, which I really appreciate. Because watching this again the other night, God, it goes by so fast that
this movie
I could
feels
immediately.
Like it's 10 minutes.
It really does, because it just doesn't slow down, and they hop back and forth so well to keep it engaging. It's great.
When he punches Colossus in the balls, oh, your poor wife.
when he when he has like the T-Rex hands. That's so good.
What was it? Everyone fears the Tyrannosaurus. What is it he says? And his hands are flopping around.
Yeah. Oh man. Almost every single line is quotable.
Finish fucking her the fuck up. Language, please. Sack a cock. That right there was 100% Ryan Reynolds. Like it has to be.
Oh, he says all dinosaurs feared the T-Rex. Yeah.
Okay. Did you
You're about to be killed by a Zamboni.
You gotta be dead in like 5 minutes. Dude. Did you remember anything about there being a defunct helicarrier? I had completely forgotten. And this movie having come out 4 years after Avengers revealed the helicarrier. Like, it's a different design, it's a different style, but it's totally a helicarrier at the end.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that, I was like, what? They could do that? That blew my brain. But, dude, okay. I think introducing just how powerful a villain is in one moment, as incredible as they did in this movie, deserves to be talked about, because Angel Dust is strong. Like, you can tell that's clearly her thing. But when she, after the superhero landing, when she in one punch sends Colossus flying like he was nothing, like he ragdolls. Like, I saw that again. I remembered it happening, but there's still something visceral about seeing it that you're just like, holy shit, when it happens.
Yeah, that's one thing too. It's like, it's not just a good comedy. Like, there's actually some legit, really the highway chase.
Oh my god, the highway chase.
The highway chase has great jokes to it and great one-liners, but it's legitimately well-filmed action. It's not all, just taken for shits and giggles. Like, there's actual moments where it's like, oh shit, this is actually like really fun to watch. And it's not just a comedy.
Oh my god. I'm looking at the quotes on IMDb, and I totally forgot about the recruiter. Hey, Jared, I'll take a foot long. Oh my god. Well, unless it's helping you recruit some children into the side of a panel van, I don't think I can help you.
Yeah, like, if you just want to know like how good the script is, just look at how many fucking quotes there are on IMDb.
Oh my god.
And there's just it's like the whole script is just there because the whole thing is so quotable. It's insane. There's 154 fucking quotes on the IMDb page.
67 out of 68 found this interesting. Happy Lent. Oh my god. Has Neil Sedaka's Calendar Girl ever been used as well as it is in this movie?
I don't think so.
There is still something disgusting about Happy Thanksgiving. I just get her shoving the mashed potatoes into his face. It's like,
yeah, it's not okay.
All right, okay, I'm good here. Oh my god, we're gonna have to cover Deadpool 2 just so we can talk about Negasonic Teenage Warhead's girlfriend.
Yeah. Hi Wade.
Hi Wade.
What is her name? Is it like Hiko? Is that something like that?
So.
Yeah.
They're just
hi,
like
Wade.
they're just like best friends.
Yeah, it just ends like hi Wade, hi Hiko.
And they're like excited to see each other every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, man. The whole thing with what exactly is Ajax's power? He's super strong and can't feel pain.
Yeah, it's interesting how when you think about it, that would be a superpower, because when you just can, because that's one of the things. Do you remember like when the fast zombies were becoming a thing in movies, and the kind of like thinking behind it was, the human body, if it doesn't concern itself with tearing itself apart, it can go beyond what your typical like standards would be for running or just raw strength. So it's kind of interesting. It's actually an interesting power.
What a hell of a side effect, though, because pain is there for a reason. Like,
yeah,
you would have no idea that you're tearing yourself apart if you go too far.
It's an interesting concept that he's probably more of, just kind of like a one-off no-name villain as far as the comics, but there's something there. You could make interesting stuff with that concept. I think.
Francis.
I love how he has like just the body's a symbol. And then
does he leave you notes too? Oh my god. Yeah. This movie, dude. I want more of this Colossus. And I came for Deadpool, and I ended up staying for Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead because her powers are interesting as well. And the way that you see her use them, like the chick that lays out Colossus gets laid out by Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Sonic the Hedgehogging into her.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
She basically ends up having like fucking Captain Marvel blasts with her.
Yeah, she seems to be able to, build up the energy and then release it like a warhead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the way the way she used it to propel Deadpool up on top of the helicarrier and stuff. I don't know. It's just an interesting of the X-Men that they had to pick and use. They had to be very careful about who they picked and used because of budget constraints. Like, what a pair to pick. And they used them creatively. Like, Colossus could be so uninteresting so easily because he's a big metal guy that's super strong, but they make up that trope in his personality. Mm-hmm. Because he's literally the gentle giant and he doesn't want to hurt anyone. And he's literally invincible, he can do whatever he wants, but he doesn't want to hurt anyone. And he just wants Deadpool to calm down and
be an
join
X-Men.
the X-Men.
Yeah.
And he sees all the good, and he's like ever the optimist in the whole thing. And
how good is that scene when he's he has the speech about
4 or 5 moments?
What a
great speech!
It's a great speech, and then Deadpool just fucking shoots him, and it's so perfect. It's so good.
And did you see what he throws up as like mercury? It's like liquid metal.
Yeah,
that comes out of him. Oh my god, that whole speech. It has to be in here, right? In IMDb. It's gotta be in here. I'll see if I can find it because that whole speech, I should have written it down. It is so good because it's so true. Like about, especially when this came out, we were getting so much media about dissecting what makes a superhero. And we had so many deconstructions of the superhero type characters. For Colossus to have this speech and just kind of be so on point with what you would associate with not even just a superhero, just a hero in general.
Yeah, exactly. I have the quote here if you wanted it in full.
Okay, yes.
Wade, 4 or 5 moments. I'm sorry? 4 or 5 moments. That's all it takes to be a hero. And then I like how the next quote is Ajax groans. Everyone thinks it's a full-time job. Wake up a hero, brush your teeth a hero, go to work a hero. Not true. Over a lifetime, there are only 4 or 5 moments that really matter. Moments where you're offered a choice to make a sacrifice, conquer a flaw, save a friend, spare an enemy. In these moments, everything else falls away. The way the world sees us, the way and then they just interject with, Deadpool gets bored and shoots Ajax in the head, killing him. Colossus vomits humorously. Why? And then Deadpool just says, "You were droning on." It's so good. And I think they hard cut the music too, because they have like really emotional music going as he's having that speech. Yeah. And then just cuts off instantly once the bullet
you hear the gunshot from the Derringer.
Yeah.
And I love that's the gun he ends up using, by the way, is the Derringer.
Yeah. It's so good.
I have a quote that I wanted to throw out there. Bob? Wade? Oh my god, I haven't seen you since Jacksonville. TGI, Fridays. Well, what the hell? God, come here, you. Knocks him out. How are the kids? Good. And Gail? She's still fixing that tuna casserole? So good. Bad for the waistline, if you know what I'm talking about.
One of my favorite sub characters too that they have is how funny are all the scenes with Dopender.
Oh, dude.
When he has his fucking cousin or whatever in the trunk, and then Deadpool's having to pretend to like chastise him in front of Colossus. He's like, "I am so proud of you."
when you hear him scream in the back.
Yeah.
Dopinder, what was that? Did this movie give us Stuber?
Maybe.
I think this movie gave us Stuber.
Yeah, I think indirectly it was like someone had the idea.
Like, hey, you
Because of
remember all those
Deadpool.
scenes in Deadpool? What if we just turned that into a movie? Yeah.
Yeah.
That propane.
we need to cover that movie at some point just because I wanted an excuse to watch it again because I genuinely enjoyed
You and
that
I are
movie
the
a lot.
only ones that liked it. Everyone else hated it.
Everyone else could kiss my ass because that movie's hilarious and I love it.
And
I can't see.
I've listened to some podcasts where one of the podcasters will rant on and on and on about it. When the other one's like, so you actually saw it? Well, no, I never saw it. But then when he goes back to ranting, like, well, then why are you ranting? Go see it. It's a great movie.
It's
I'm
so
blind
funny.
again.
Yeah, I fucking love that movie.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah. No, when everyone just stops and stares at him as he's got his cousin in the trunk. And dude, when he wrecks his car and he gets rear-ended and you just hear the cousin screaming.
Dude, I'm fucking laughing so hard when that happens. It's so good.
Oh, it's amazing. This whole movie.
You can't do justice talking about it because you just have to fucking watch it because every fucking scene has a dude when he has the goddamn Hugh Jackman mask on it. Yeah. Oh god.
And I can't even tell you whose balls I had to fondle to get my own movie, but it rhymes with Pulverine.
It's got a couple of smooth criminals down under. Oh god.
Dude, has there ever been an advertising campaign for absolutely nothing better than the back and forth between Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, this is so good.
Like, it's not even for anything. They're just doing it.
They continue it to this very day. They still have like an internet beef, but on like fucking Twitter and Instagram and shit, they're always busting each other's balls.
It became a thing that they did end up using to advertise certain events. If they were both going to be involved, it would be the two of them busting each other's balls, and it's just like, man, it's just so good. Everything to do with
always
this.
here for it.
I do love that Vanessa is not just helpless. By the way,
She's a badass.
Yeah, she's dude. Her getting herself out of the tube and then pulling his sword out and then
and
going
by the blade in because that's all she has access to.
Yes.
It's like, oh man, it fucking hurts to watch, man.
Oh my god. Because I always hate it in movies when they can just do nothing. They're just paralyzed with fear. Whoever was kidnapped. It doesn't matter if it's a dude, chick, what. They're just paralyzed with fear. Like, come on, do something. Even if you just get up and run away, at least you're removing yourself from the danger. They don't have to worry about you anymore. Like, do something. And he's like immortal, but he's losing to Ajax until he gets stabbed from behind by Deadpool's sword.
Dude, how good is it see when he gets stabbed in the head? And he's just barely functioning and he's seeing like the little cartoons in real life.
When it becomes Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Yeah. Fucking hell, man.
Oh my god.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I remember, I don't think you got the full reference of it, but the after credit sequence of them having him in the fucking Ferris Bueller's bathrobe had people laughing their ass off the first time I saw it in the theater. I just remember people just like losing their shit.
The first time I saw that in theaters, I had no reference point. I had no idea what they were doing because I've never seen that movie.
I need to have it on the show because I hope it still holds up because I always loved that movie.
I know that they reference it in Spider-Man too, right? And
when he's running across the in Homecoming
it's on the background in one of the TVs, isn't it? Him doing it. Him running across.
Yeah, as he's running through the neighborhood.
Now, explain to me the love affair between Deadpool and Spider-Man. Because I know that there is a Spider-Man cartoon I've never watched.
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Where there's a ton of memes that have come out of pairing Deadpool and Spider-Man together. Deadpool's credits get referenced by Spider-Man Homecoming, essentially. Because they do the same kind of thing with the animations and stuff. And I remember when all the Fox properties got bought, everyone was immediately like, Deadpool Spider-Man movie. Deadpool Spider-Man movie. Like,
yeah. I've read some of the comics that it's kind of based on, but I haven't seen that cartoon. But that cartoon really seems to be like a big driving force behind it. That I think I've seen like a couple of episodes for, but I haven't seen the heavy fucking influence of the Deadpool Spidey love that you're talking about.
Okay, I'm laughing because I'm still on the quotes page. Ripley from Alien 3. Fuck, you're old. Fake laugh, hiding real pain. Go get silver balls. Ripley.
Yeah, it's like all the lines just on paper are great, but his delivery just really fucking sells it.
Oh my god. Yeah, no. I would be totally down for a Spider-Man Deadpool crossover. By the way.
Oh, of course.
Absolutely, because I could totally see it. It was a pairing that I had never thought of until all of a sudden, out of nowhere, and the internet was just flooded with a ton of memes of Deadpool and Spider-Man together.
I still really want him to cross over into one of the MCU movies where it is PG-13 and they're bleeping all of his curse words and he's aware of it and he gets pissed off because he's breaking the fourth wall. Like, it's just so much gold there, dude. You could, it's just please do it. I actually, what do you think of as another thing? I've actually been really intrigued by the fact that they have been, and I know a big part of it was the Disney buyout of Fox, but just the fact that they didn't immediately rush into a third Deadpool movie when they very easily could have. I like that they were kind of showing restraint on it, instead of kind of wearing out their welcome with it.
Well, the MCU does not operate the way you think of when you think of a movie studio, because they think more along the lines of, like, say, Google or Apple, right? They're not looking at next year's movie releases. The MCU is looking at what we're doing in the next 10 years. And
I was actually talking about Fox.
Oh, Fox not rushing into it?
Fox had time because Deadpool 2 came out in, was it 2018? I
think so.
They fast-tracked Deadpool 2 and it was out within 2 years.
They tried to stop Deadpool 1 and they fast-tracked Deadpool 2.
Yeah, because they saw fucking $1 billion in revenue out of it. But I always thought it was interesting that they held back. Part of that was, they really, really embraced Logan and wanted to make Logan the proper send-off for Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart, but they totally in that time period could have maybe it was Ryan Reynolds, making them kind of like, cool their jets on it without grinding the franchise into the ground,
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. It is interesting.
But I am fascinated to see what a Deadpool movie under Kevin Feige looks like. How much of
my God. Well,
how much of the DNA remains, because they can say that they want to keep it the same, but it can't be exactly the same because they will have at least some influences of the MCU in there. Just because it's a Kevin Feige production, he can't really help himself. They're going to change it a little bit.
And there is going to have to be times in various movies if it's a character that they cross over that they have to do a PG-13 Deadpool, and the MCU is the only place I trust a PG-13 Deadpool.
Agreed, 1000%.
Because if they can't do it or they feel they can't do it, they won't do it. But I am interested to see how they fold it in. I feel like the reason we haven't seen anything yet there is they're still, like I said, where I was going with what I was saying is they are not going to fold in the X-Men until they have a track that makes sense with what they've been doing with the current movies and the current track. And it may not even be the next phase until we see them. But with what happens in Loki, like, all bets are off. Like, they can do anything they want with any characters they want. They've got everything back but Spider-Man. And they can do... They have the ultimate toy box. They have all the characters. So to see how they could use Deadpool and what X-Men that they choose to use. Because if you think about it along the lines of Avengers, I mean, each of the Avengers have their own lines of movies. So could we not get lines of movies that just focus on particular X-Men and not just always the big team-up X-Men movie?
Or if they go along the route of maybe we kind of redirect away people are a little bit tired of X-Men, but people like, characters like Deadpool and Colossus right now. Why don't we pivot to X-Force, where we kind of have our cake and eat it too, where you're using the property, but you're not playing into the kind of tired X-Men tropes that they're, that Fox unfortunately set up for them, that just like if you really just want to have everything that's been happening with the Fox X-Men movies tied up in a fucking ribbon, is just like, really? You're gonna reboot the Dark Phoenix again? Like, really, guys? That's all you can do? Okay.
They don't have to. They can reference it. If they want. They can do whatever they want. I'm very happy.
We're
at an unprecedented point with the X-Men stuff and Fantastic Four stuff and everything else, because they can fold those old movies in if they want. They don't have to retread that territory.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting.
It'll be interesting, and I'll be really, really intrigued to see.
I want to see them branch off into the timeline where Moon Knight runs into Ivan Ooze, because they're both Oscar Isaac.
Oh, Apocalypse.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to see
Ivan Ooze. Oh my god.
I want to see the timeline.
I forgot about that movie.
I want to see the timeline where they meet face to face.
I'd watch it.
I'm curious about that Moon Knight show, by the way.
Oh, dude, it looks like a part of it looks like a fucking MCU horror movie, so I'm there fucking first night. It looks fucking weird, and I'm all about it.
It's something different for sure. The thing that I'm interested in, that I hope that they do with the X-Men and Deadpool, is I was really enjoying the MCU movies we were getting where they were pairing off characters, right? Like Thor Ragnarok, when we had Hulk and Thor together, and Loki, like just doing 2 to 3 characters together. We don't have to tread just the one, but we don't need an Avengers level event, or we don't need the whole team together. But like all the best parts of Deadpool is when he's playing off of the other characters, right? And I want to see them do is, one of the things that's great about the X-Men is because they are such a tight-knit team, the way that they tend to use their powers in conjunction together, which they kind of started doing a little bit near the end of like the whole Infinity Saga thing.
Mm.
I want to see them do something creative with the X-Men's powers, and I want to see them bring them in and fold them in a way where we're getting like 2 to 3 characters in a movie together playing off of each other. I think we can do some really interesting stuff with a lot of the characters if it's in the hands of people that really know how to use them. I feel like while a lot of the X-Men movies aren't bad, I just feel like they're underutilized or retreading the same territory over and over again. I quit watching them after a certain point.
They became too safe with them.
Yeah.
Because there were a few along the way that, like I think of like Days of Future Past, they were doing a little bit of interesting stuff. Now, granted, they were just yet again ripping off one of the most famous comic lines, but at least it was something different. It wasn't, Magneto trying to take over the world. It wasn't, one of their exact same plot lines, retreaded again. It was a little bit different, but I would be curious to see. I'm very interested to see what they do with that. And even though I never really cared about it much in the past, I'm very interested in what an MCU Fantastic Four looks like as well. I'm especially with the Spider-Man director, is it John Watts, I think is his name, taking over that franchise. I'm very interested in that.
If he can set that same tone, I think Fantastic Four needs the same tone as a Spider-Man movie. I think that could work pretty good. I feel like you and I could put together an entire paper and publish it just about the original X-Men trilogy, because the thing that is interesting about those movies is how everyone seemingly loved the first one and then hated it by default when they hated the other 2 movies. But everyone is always like, oh, but I mean, come on, Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman. I mean, come on. But no, those movies suck. Like it's
there seems everyone hates the third one.
I know.
But people are like kind of iffy on the first one, outside of having respect for it as one of the first movies to legitimize comic book movies. But everyone still is kind of on board with liking the second one. The second one still to this day pops up in a lot of people's like top 10 comic book films and shit like that.
I've never heard
like,
anyone say anything nice about it.
2 is the one that's as far as geek culture is the most well regarded. Now that's taking into account the older movies. Obviously, Logan and Deadpool are the ones that people nowadays will point to as far as being the better ones. But people, if you look around, people have a lot of love for that second one.
But I just love, no matter how much people hate them, as soon as you're like, but I mean, come on, Ian McKellen. They're like, oh no, Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman. Yeah, but God, those movies.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone say anything bad, at least about those 3.
Mm-hmm.
I feel so sorry for the poor schmuck that has to carry the Wolverine mantle next.
Yeah. It's got to happen eventually.
It's got to happen eventually. And no matter how good they are, I feel like the public will hate it because it's not Hugh Jackman. And then whoever
I don't think you're going to see it anytime soon because they don't have like, why would they force that when they can just use like someone like Deadpool, or, you know, just maybe use, you know, like lesser known mutant characters. You know, they can do whatever they want. I hope they continue to pick the right people for the right projects like they have shown. Because I think that's what it all falls back on, is who you pick to continue it. Because Fox was terrible about picking a lot of the people that took over some of those properties.
Yeah. I want to see, since they're folding everything in, that mean we could potentially, I mean, just for a moment, because we're kind of reaching the point where he's not going to be able to do the role anymore. But does that mean we could possibly see one more time Ian McKellen in the Magneto costume?
Maybe. I mean, I think he genuinely did enjoy playing that character.
Oh, it's a great character.
Because it's a great character. He was always fantastic, and one of the best parts of each movie he was in as that character. I could see him doing it maybe if at the very least for like a cameo.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. If we would get it one more time.
I really liked Fassbender as Magneto as well, by the way. I thought he was a good choice for the.
I only
version.
saw First Class, so.
Yeah, he almost became. It's interesting how, you know, we always talk about, like, people talk shit about the X-Men movies for the most part, outside of specifically mostly Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. A lot of people talk shit about the later gen X-Men movies. It's like, oh, but James McAvoy and Fassbender were pretty good. It became like the exact same fucking thing.
First Class has the absolute best cameo in the history of movies. So
True.
Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be interesting where we go from here.
It's interesting. I'm honestly, if you made me pick one, I am more interested right now because I want to see how they do it, and because of John Watts. But I am actually more interested in seeing what they do with Fantastic Four at this point in time than I am X-Men. I think I'm still feeling a little bit of X-Men fatigue. Like, I'm all aboard. I almost don't even consider Deadpool the same thing, even though he is from that franchise and is technically a mutant. I view Deadpool as its own thing, and I'm still feeling a little bit of the burnout. You might not be feeling the same way because you had kind of fallen off on watching them. I watched all of them, so I'm I'm good for a while.
I'm still feeling the burnout because they all got to me the point where they're just, it felt like the same movie over and over again, even when it wasn't.
It was. Yeah, it was like just Control-C, Control-V.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, just change it so the teacher doesn't notice. And yeah. And then Deadpool was such a breath of fresh air. And like I said, it showed the studios it's okay to dial the scope of your movie back.
Yeah, Logan's a fucking Western.
Yeah.
You know, and it's amazing. And it's so perfect for that character. And you know, we always talked about how it was so fucking stupid about how one of Wolverine's powers is cutting people, and we never saw blood in any of the fucking Wolverine scenes in the X-Men film. And then, like, but they were so smart about Logan too, because they really understood the character. It wasn't gratuitous. You know, like it was just a realistic implication of his ability.
It's gratuitous in Deadpool, but it fits the character. So it's not over the top, even though it's gratuitous. And in in Logan, there's a lot of violence and dismemberment, and gore doesn't seem like the right word, even though there is people being dismembered. They don't focus in on it. It's not the central.
It's not glorified.
Idea. Yeah,
you know, it's not like a slasher movie.
Yeah, but Yeah, it fits. It's not out of place, and it's not. It's Book of Eli-ish, right? Like we were talking about.
Yeah.
It kind of fits in that category where
it's like a necessary evil.
Yeah.
Of it, instead of it being front and center, and it's they didn't it's he's not Jason Voorhees. They're not glorifying it. It's just it's an implication of his abilities, and it's portrayed haunting.
Yeah,
as
and
he's
he's not getting anything out of it.
Yeah,
he's not enjoying it.
Yeah, it's just a shame that it took thank God for Deadpool, because it was looking pretty dicey there for a while, but between them finally picking good people for their projects and just kind of like stepping the fuck out of the way, and there's hope again for X-Men properties that like there hadn't been for a while until Deadpool and Logan kind of fucking saved it. And I'm so interested to see like what they do with Wolverine in the future, how they use Deadpool, how much they use Deadpool, how often Ryan Reynolds is willing to do it, because he does seem a little bit protective of it, and he should be, because he works so fucking hard. Like, I think it's really cool. One thing we didn't talk about, how I think it's so cool about how, like most of the highway chase sequence, was that little animatic that they were passing around to the studios when they were trying desperately to get it made. Because you can see, several years before Deadpool became a thing, one of the things that was driving the kind of like word of mouth around it was that animatic of, the fucking amazing chase sequence, and how perfectly suited he was for the character, and how they were presenting the character. And it was so cool that's a very pivotal moment in the movie, was that sequence they'd come up with. It's very cool.
Also, we can't get out of here without mentioning, did you remember the Deadpool rap? Because I forgot about the Deadpool rap.
Oh, so after this movie came out, I actually got really into that song, where it was on one of my YouTube playlists, where I would just listen to it when like driving to work, because I fucking love that song, dude.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good. It's right up there with Straight Outta Gotham.
I also, just another scene that it made me think of is the X-Gun Give It To You sequence, when they're just all walking like complete badasses, and they realize that he forgot the fucking guns that they spent 10 minutes assembling.
That's what leads to the car crash where you hear the cousin in the back.
It's such a good fucking joke, dude. Because they have that whole fucking moment where even Blind Owl dude is like cocking a fucking shotgun, like, whoa, watch where you're pointing that, Mr. Magoo.
Yeah.
They have that whole fucking sequence where they're just assembling the arsenal.
Dude, that means when the police arrives, that taxi driver has all those guns and a guy in his trunk.
This is actually maybe, I want to bust out fucking Deadpool 2. I haven't seen Deadpool 2 since it like came out, so I would like to watch it again.
I haven't seen it since theaters either. I saw it the one time in theaters.
I would really like to watch it again, because I loved all of the things they did with, you remember Dopender is like trying to actively be a badass, but he just goes a little bit too far by the end. He's like, whoa, dude. There's a lot of good stuff with the carryover of some of the characters that I thought.
How did we talk about this movie for so long and not talk about the guy that goes splat on the highway against the sign? Oh. He's like wet pasta being thrown against a brick wall, dude.
When he slides down after Colossus is talking about like how it,
he was up there when I got here.
He was up there when I got here.
Your
good.
poor wife. Oh, Canada. Oh, dinosaurs feared the T-Rex.
I'm so happy this movie exists. I'm so happy that they fucking got out of their own way to let it happen, because it's so good. It was so important. Like, we would not have Logan if not for this.
They tried to stop it from happening.
For several years, man. Like,
I don't get it. But okay, and it made them $1 billion.
Yeah, but man, so happy this movie exists.
Right,
why don't we talk about? Did you have any other final thoughts on Deadpool before we talk about what we're doing next?
No, that's pretty much all I had. I am scared to find out what this next movie is.
Oh yeah, so we got to talk about. So a few months ago, we did a little project called the Friends and Family Month, where we actually let other people take the wheel. Ron and I had no control over the movie selections for a month. They're slightly shorter episodes, back to back to back to back for 1 month. And we were doing that again for the month of March. So we're gonna be, collecting some picks from some of our friends and family for our first selection. Our buddy Soapy has had this in the pipeline for several months. You're not gonna be as devastated as I am talking about it, but Soapy.
It's probably one of my favorite movies.
Soapy has had it in the pipeline for a while now, ever since he learned of the first month that we did it. He has selected for you and I to cover as the opening installment, The Last Airbender. Just to school.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Just to squash my entire fucking childhood, dude.
We'll see which one makes you more angry, this one or Dragon Ball Evolution.
Oh. It's Last Airbender by a fucking mile, dude.
I like that movie.
And you are incorrect.
That is we will get into that. Your opinion is wrong.
Yeah. Love you, Soapy. Fuck you, Soapy. I'm looking forward to busting that. Please tell me it's for free. Please tell me I'm not gonna have to pay.
I own it. I have it on Blu-ray if you want to borrow it.
I'm gonna borrow it just to set it on fucking fire in my backyard.
You owe me a Blu-ray.
Did you a fucking favor? Let's see. Last Airbender.
This needs to be a commentary.
Oh fuck. I'm gonna have to pay money to fucking rent The Last Airbender. God damn you, Soapy. Okay, that's the thing that's gonna happen. It's actually good timing too, because Aurora and I just watched the entirety of Avatar and The Legend of Korra within the last month and a half.
I was gonna ask you if she's into it.
Because she got really into it, and man, I'm still debating if I'm gonna subject her to that fucking nonsense for 2 hours. I don't know if I can do it. I'll think about it. It'd be kind of funny if we just have Aurora on as the third co-host.
I was gonna say, if she gets just as angry as you are.
Oh, she got really into it, so she is also going to be.
I might just have to sit back.
But I don't know. I will deliberate on that and see if I want to fucking subject her to that.
I'm pretty sure that's the first Blu-ray I bought. That's the
You're breaking
first
my heart,
Blu-ray
man.
I ever owned.
Why?
It was my introduction into the franchise, though. I mean, I never would have watched the series without having watched that movie. Because the girl I was dating at the time was into it.
Well, yeah, we'll go into that because I had a similar situation happen. But
I love how it's a situation for you.
That's a fucking situation, dude. We'll talk about it. Yeah.
Yes, we will.
I'm gonna have to buy fucking beer for that one, dude. I don't know if I can get through that shit sober. But if you would like to follow the show for additional updates, be sure to follow us over on Twitter at SPR Filmcast. We will be probably relaying out either over Twitter or just week by week on the show. As far as when the other selections come in, we kind of just do them first come, first serve. I did Soapy's first because he's had that fucking movie picked out just to bust my balls for like 6 months now. Since when did we last do the Friends and Family thing?
About a year ago.
About a year ago, I think. God, it's crazy how fast that year went by, right?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, fucking nuts. But
went by like watching Deadpool.
Yeah, man. On a good high, having watched Deadpool, having a good old time last year. But that's the beauty.
We started this year off strong with our movies.
Yeah, we really did.
Mitchell's vs. the Machines, Book of Eli, Deadpool, and The Last Airbender.
And The Last Airbender, fuck me.
What was it? Avatar? Is that what they say?
The Avatar. Everyone's fucking name is fucked up. I remember that much.
Well,
literally everyone's fucking name is fucked up.
I remember though, wasn't there a thing with James Cameron's Avatar? Was the reason they had to say Avatar?
They didn't. That was an M. Night thing, but the branding of the movie not having Avatar in the title is because of James Cameron.
Yeah,
they had to kind of like audible to just using The Last Airbender because they didn't want it associated with raising the bar. If you would like to support the show, you can also ratings and reviews on any of the platforms you find us on greatly help. Share us out to a friend if you enjoy the content. I think they might as well. Really helps us out. Ron, is there anywhere on the interwebs you can be found when you're not discussing movies like Deadpool with myself on this show?
You can find me on Twitter and YouTube coming soon again. It's been like 2 months, I think, since I've had any content go live on YouTube. I'm about to start recording again, though. I got my spiffy new setup and everything, and pretty much getting ready to go. I'm Ron Sense TV on all the things. I was considering maybe even throwing a live stream in on Twitch soon.
Oh, there you go. What would you cover if you did?
I'm not entirely sure. I was thinking about maybe Bobby's been wanting me to do some challenge runs on Mega Man X. So
there you go.
I was thinking about maybe, I know that game well enough that not only could I do it because I used to do challenge runs on it for fun, I could interact with chat a lot more better, not have to concentrate as hard on the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe, I don't know. I'll announce that via Twitter.
There you go. Yeah. And yeah, so it's going to be a couple of weeks from now.
Get your blood pressure medicine
Deadpool
refilled, Jeff.
Jesus Christ. So this episode is going live this Saturday, correct, for Deadpool?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to have a 2-week span in between that and the next episode, and then for the entire month of March is when we're going to be dropping the Friends and Family picks week to week. So look forward to that. Be sure to don't watch The Last Airbender to follow along with us and dodge that fucking landmine. Please.
Either that episode's going to be super short because you're going to want to get in and get out, or it's going to drone on forever because you're not going to shut up.
I have talking points, my friend.
I had talking points. I don't even remember the show at this point. It's all going to be brand new to me again. I've only seen that show once. My wife and I started dating 2006, so sometime around there is when I got introduced to the series, and I only watched it because I had seen the movie.
It's funny how I had a similar situation happen, but just absolutely fell in love with the cartoon and retroactively hate that piece of shit movie more and more every time I think about it. But we'll talk about it. We'll have fun. Ron will have fun.
I will have fun.
Soapy will have fun. I'll pop a fucking blood vessel, but it'll be fun. And that's the whole point, because, you know, when we lose control of the show, we actually get, you know, like what we have last time. We had, you know, was it Spaceballs?
Dragon Ball Evolution.
Dragon Ball Evolution, you know, into the, you know, it's just like a random assortment that makes for fun conversation about it, because it's stuff, it's stuff that we ordinarily wouldn't cover, and it kind of takes you out of your comfort zone, and that makes for really good episodes, either, you know, like Dragon Ball Evolution or
Spirited Away. Was that the other one? Was that the one Christina picked?
Yes, Spirited Away was the other one. So we'll see. We'll see what everyone picks. I think we're gonna have more people troll us this year.
I think she's getting ready to troll us. She's been thinking about it for a little bit, and
especially after she gave us, you know, like a classic last time, she will absolutely troll us this time.
Dude, oh my god, the movies that she watches on her own, the movies that she chooses to subject herself to. Half the time, I'll be like, this movie looks like it sucks. And she's like, it's pretty bad. It's pretty painful. I'm like, so turn it off. And she's like, I can't. I started it. And is she still watching the Flash CW show? Because I remember that became like a hate. That became like a hate watch thing. She's not even into the character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just can't stop watching this mediocre fucking bad teenage superhero melodrama for no reason.
Yeah, no, her favorite thing every year is the Hallmark movies.
Oh no! So we're gonna have a Hallmark movie selected for us, aren't we?
We're probably gonna have a Hallmark movie.
I feel like every single person's gonna troll us, and I'm kind of all about it.
I've been wanting to watch Blazing Saddles, though. I'm probably gonna have to watch that when we're done here.
It's pretty good, pretty fucking good. Wasn't it just like the fucking like 45th anniversary or something for it?
48th, 45th? I don't remember. But,
crazy.
Yeah, and then that Mel Brooks put out that book recently, so everyone's been talking about all Mel Brooks stuff all the time,
which I'm totally on board for.
Yeah,
love that, man.
All right,
yeah, I think this is gonna be a wrap though. So we appreciate you listening, and have a good night.